Hello and welcome to AMZ TV. Is your girl Ameze back on your screen? And if you're watching this, is on AMZ TV. And if you're listening, is Ameze Live podcast. I have with me today on this episode, I don't even know where to start from because this person is larger than life. This person is a living legend. He's an icon. He is a force to be reckoned with. He is the origin of the Nigerian television as we knew it then, and even till now. Everybody came through this man. And I am it's such an honor to have him on my show. And I'm going to introduce him by first greeting him in his native tongue, Migwosa. You're welcome.
Nice seeing you again after so many years.
Yes, I am talking about Mr. I'm sure he's probably a chief now. Peter Igho Migwo.
Ledu, thank you very much for inviting me.
Words fail me. Words fail me in just being in your presence. It's humbling. It's and it gives me nostalgia, because you have been a part of my career before I even got into it, and since then till now. Oh my God! I remember Kokradon. Will he ever get there?
Will he ever make it? Will he ever hear
the sound of the cockroach at dawn? Oh my God. Oh my God. I am talking to Mr. Peter Igho. That was revolutionary, And for me, I've lost both parents now, but my parents are gone. But I do remember that period of Kokradon. It was a time, what comes to my mind is my parents, my father and mother sitting down on the couch and the kids around their feet. And oh my God, I'm tearing up. I just want to say thank you.
Okay, it's all right. It's okay, darling.
Oh my God, I cannot believe this. But thank you for those memories. This is the man, at the time, Peter Igho was just synonymous with every production, every drama production. It was like Peter Igho, and then you have Nigerian Television. And recently, congratulations, this year, you and your son.
That's right.
We're honored at the African Magic Viewers' Choice Awards.
That's right.
Two of you made history at that award. You got like a merit award, which is like a lifetime, and he got
lifetime achievement award.
Yeah. Yes. So tell me how that is. I'm sorry. I'm overwhelmed with emotion, but how was that for you, standing there, with your son?
Well, it was really gratifying. It was very, very touching. I didn't even know, I wasn't even aware that there was going to be such an award. What I knew was that my son had shot a movie titled Seven. And his movie titled Seven had 7 nominations for the award. And it was such a big thing, 7 nominations for title 7, and for the 7th edition of the African Magic Award. So my wife called me and said, my son said, look, I must be there for his award. And then my 2 daughters kept calling me to say, Daddy, you must go, you must be there for your son. Now they knew I also have a chieftaincy title from Kebbi State. And Kebbi State was having the Argungu Fishing Festival. And all of us who were title holders of that were required to be there to ride our horses to pay homage to the emir and all that as part of the festival. So it was a choice between that and the first one. I was planning to go there to Argungu. But they kept harassing me and saying, you must be in Lagos instead for this too. And I said, well, Tosi will understand. He said, no, Tosi will not understand. You have to be there. So in the end, I went to Lagos. And then my daughter was kept before the morning of the show. Said, I want to see what you're going to wear. I want to see what you're going to. I said, look, it's not me you should worry about. It's Tosi you should worry about. He's the one getting an award. He's the one who's going for it. I'm just there to sit with the audience.
Right.
You know? So, but she insisted in selecting my wardrobe and all that. And I went. And when I was in the hall, we were seated with my other elder son, Tony Igho, who also is in broadcasting. He is the special effects and animation specialist. We were all there seated when I saw someone from MultiChoice walk up to Tosi, and Tosi said, he's here. And the person walked up to me. She was the lady in charge of production and said, sir, I just want to thank you so much. You are the reason why I'm in broadcasting.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, thank you very much for that. And then that was it. So I thought that was it. So when later I heard them talking about, the origins of Nollywood and how Nollywood came from NTA and the man from NTA, and then I heard my name, it was, I was astounded.
Oh, yeah.
And as I went up, of course, the presenter made that remark. He talked about it. It was historical because Tosin had won an award earlier on for his movie. And it was the first time in the history of those awards where a father and a son were getting an award. It was very touching. I've received so many awards, including the Lifetime Achievement Award, 2 Lifetime Achievement Awards. But that was special because it was least expected, and I was very, very touched. It was very gratifying.
Yes, even watching it, I felt like I was there and just celebrating you. And then there's such a thing as, you said so in your speech, you raised all of us. So now to share that spotlight with your son, it's a beautiful thing. It's like the crowning of all the hard work you have done,
Yes.
So I can imagine. We were all cheering and rooting for you and happy for, all that. But how did it all start though? Where did this love come from? Tell us how, in a very short way, tell us how it all started. I know somewhere it started in Sokoto. I know it was Sokoto, and but I don't want to tell your story. How did it start from this man, Peter Igho?
Well, I think he started way back before Sokoto. I think he went back to Jos, where I was born. And my father was a tin miner, and most of the time he was in the mines. And my mother, poor woman, was left with the children trying to fend. And mining then had its ups and downs. Now you have it, now you don't.
Yeah.
And so my mother had to make ends meet. And we, like all other children, had to hawk whatever was in season. If it was groundnut, so that it was eggs, guinea fowl eggs or whatever, to make ends meet.
Yeah.
And of course, that gave us the opportunity after school to go out, and invariably we would end up in the cinema. There were movies in the morning, movies in the afternoon, movies in the evening. And so we got so engaged in watching movies from that early age. And those early times, they were American and English films. They were the Tarzan series, Johnny Westmoreland, Jungle Jim in the Forbidden Land. There were the Davy Crockett, King of the Wild Frontier, and of course the Superman, and all those movies came before the Indian films came, and all that. So we grew up imbibing all those movies, and when Indian films came, most of them were without subtitles. But because we had come at that early age, come to understand the language of the moving image, I could tell the story of what was happening without disconnected power. So I could tell the story of what was happening, and the
you know, and so I was able to follow and tell people. Sometimes some adults would pay for me to go in and tell them what was happening. Oh, that's the actor. This is the bad guy, and this is what is going on, and all that, and all that.
Oh my goodness.
So that was how this love for the cinema and the moving image was imbibed in me. And of course, years later, when I secondary school, through secondary school, again, I was very good in English, literature, and all that. And my essays won the best awards and all that. But writing a play was when I finished my higher school, and I won the Kennedy State competition, and from my school. And then the principal said, "Look, you're leaving the school soon to go to university. I want you to organize, since you love drama so much, can you organize a drama?" Only 5. So 5 halls got their place, and 1 didn't. And when I told the principal said, "Well, you write so well." And I said, "I'm not going to just go ahead and write, I'm sure you'll come." So I sat down. The other was already rehearsing and rehearsing. And this one hall stood over me as I wrote each page, and I'll hand over, write a page, and I'll hand over. And I finished writing and I left for the university. I understood later that they brought adjudicators from the American embassy and the British embassy to come and adjudicate the 6 plays. And surprise, surprise, my play was the winning entry. And so I said, so I can write. And that was the beginning, if you like, of my writing.
Yeah.
And when I got to university again, in the university, in the play production class, we were divided into two groups and given a title, just Escape. And this group was supposed to produce a play on that word, escape. And the other group sat down, organized, and wrote their own play. My own group, when I just was the quiet one in the group, and I heard them argue and argue and argue and argue. When I found that the argument was going to, so I raised my hand and I said, yes. And they said, well, I said, listen, today is Friday. Can you give me until Monday? Let me bring up something that we could use. So I went back over the weekend, wrote a play, and brought it and gave it to them on Monday. So that was what we produced, and we were the winning group.
Again.
And so that emphasized the fact that maybe I could do something.
Right.
And then, of course, when I left university, I was posted to Northwest State. And I was posted to Northwest State. And I was teaching in a secondary school, a teacher's training school. Again, the students were old students, so to speak. They were all there to learn how to teach. It was a teacher training college. They were all mature, if you like, young men. Some of them were even married. But they were really not much interested in schooling. But I now realized that, okay, look, let me get them interested. So I was in Bida, and I love Bida and Nupe music. So I got one of them whose father was a famous Angale drums musician. So we bought the set of drums, 7 drums, and every day I would just take them to the hall and get the boy to drum. And of course, the entire students came and danced and danced and danced. And I thought it would be even more interesting. So I drove to the girls' secondary school, and I pleaded with the principal to allow her girls to come join the boys. She was scandalized at first. Said, no. In the end, I convinced her. And when the girls came to join them, everybody wanted to be part of it. So just watching them dance, I wrote a dance drama called Ugaga's Heart, which, to cut a long story short, it was performed, the entire town watched. The government got to hear about it in Sokoto, the capital. We were told to go to Sokoto to perform for the governor. The governor saw it and chose it as the state's entry for the 1974 Festival of Arts and Culture. We went to Lagos. It was 12 states then. We were one of the 3 winning states in 1974. Of course, that then said they wanted to move me to culture because of that success. But that next year, 75, Sokoto was also starting their own television. And they then said, if I would want to come to television. Of course, I said yes. But my brothers would have none of it. Because during the Festival of Arts and Culture, we made so much money was available. There was so much money pumped into arts and culture. And my brother said, what are you going to do in television? Produced and directed by what is there? Stay where there's money. And I said, no. The argument got so bad, had to go to my father, who said, well, what do you want to do? I said, I want all those movies I watched, all those cinemas I want to be part of that experience. This is the opportunity to be that. And my brother said, no, we don't just written and directed by, produced by, that's not going to give you anything. My father said, no. If he does it well, that written and produced by, that name may open more doors for him than the money from the culture.
You raised
those are true words. And
you raised you.
Today now, that has come to pass.
Yeah.
Written, produced, and directed by Peter Igho has opened more doors for me and given me more awards and accolades than any money can buy.
I went to join television, NTA Sokoto, as a pioneer member of the NTA Sokoto. And of course, the rest is history. I was head of drama. I was in charge of producing English and Hausa dramas live every week. One episode every week of Hausa, one episode of English. Live. There were no recording facilities at that time. You rehearsed your artists, got into the studio, and when they came to you, you were on for the next 1 hour or half hour. And that was it. There was no margin for error.
No margin. Oh my
for error. So that's how I formally entered into television. Many people think that I started from television. No, I started from the stage actually.
Yeah.
From the stage, then television. And then of course, while the unique thing about Sokoto was Sokoto television didn't have a proper studio. It was a store that was converted to a studio, very low roofs. So lighting was, we had shadows all over the place. So we had to be creative in terms of how we could light from the sides and from all that to achieve what we did. But because of the confines of that studio, I decided necessity became the mother of invention. I started to move drama out of the studio. If you recall, before that time, the existing drama plays were all studio-based. Village Headmaster in Lagos.
Yes. No studio. Boring.
Masquerade from the east and Samanja from the north. All studio-based production.
Yes.
So when I started shooting and using the cine camera, the camera meant for recording newsreels, to shoot little clips of exteriors, which are now edited into played back into my productions. And I did a number of productions like that. And when 1977, NTA was born, all the stations came under one umbrella called the NTA. NTV Sokoto became NTA Sokoto. We're now part of the larger family of NTA Sokoto. And then in 1978, the NTA decided to run a competition among the 12 existing NTA stations to showcase the NTA network service. Wow. I wrote, produced, and directed the entry from NTA Sokoto called Moment of Truth. When they were adjudicated, we came first. My production, Moment of Truth, came first.
Of course.
From Sokoto. And at that time it was, but I had, and one of the things that made us win, of course, was that I brought so much location work into the production. We had a sequence where the lead actress in the movie had lost her pregnancy, and I wanted to externalize her pain, but because at that time we didn't have professional actors. I just picked them from the street and told them to be yourself. I didn't want those days when people cried on television. It made people laugh, and I didn't want that to happen. I wanted people to cry with her. I wanted people to feel her pain.
Yeah.
So when she screamed in agony, in pain, I caught from her to the exterior of the house. And there was a heavy storm going, lightning, thunder, and heavy storm. And then we see the husband come out of the house looking for her. And then he sees her out there in the garden sitting in the rain. And he runs through the rain to meet her where she's seated. And he picks her up. And you cannot tell the tears from the rain. And as he picks her to go back into the house, I put in one of Bongo's Ikwe's, what's gonna be is gonna be. What goes up must come down. What's gonna be is gonna be. Ain't nothing you can do about it. At that point, everybody who watches tears up. And I understand that so that exterior shooting, of course, gave me that recognition as the man who took drama out of the studios and invented working on location. So we started that in Sokoto.
Right. You know, just to piggyback off what you said, when your family others were saying, written by, created, written, produced, and directed by, who cares? Well, eventually that became, you raised many generations through that. You know, I'm one of your products, you know, and even watching as a younger, much younger person, watching your shows, you know, we had Kokora Down, which was like a movie, you know, it was a movie. Yeah, and it was the first of its kind ever, you know, in the Nigerian drama terrain.
Yes, it was the first ever drama series shot entirely on location. It was the first drama series on the NTA network. It was the first drama series shot entirely on location. It was the first drama series with its own specially composed mood and theme music. And I shot on film all through. I shot the first 13 episodes on celluloid.
It appeared like that. I remember now, you know. So it was there was mirror again, guys. You're listening to, this is AMZ TV. I'm your girl Ameze, and of course I have with me here a living legend, Mr. Peter Igho. Just to name a few of the programs that he's been linked with, because at the time his name was synonymous with NTA. You see Peter Igho and his NTA. You know, at the point people are like, is he the owner of NTA? Growing up, I wasn't even thinking so. We have Kokora Down, we've talked about. We have the new village headmaster. We had the new masquerade. We had Samanja. Oh my goodness. We had Mirror in the Sun. We had Behind
the Clouds.
Oh Lord. Sir, I mean, you have the magic touch. It was like anything you touched was just, anything associated with you became so successful. For me, I even remember many years later, this was in the 90s, and there was the 7-Up game show. The one with the cars, you know, you've raised many generations. And I thank you for the opportunity to be able to work on that set with Patrick. Okay, you know.
Okay, that's right.
Again, I'm at a loss for words. One thing I'm going to ask you though, you tend to use Bongo's Ikwe's song. Why is that?
Yes. Well, it goes back a long way.
Yeah.
You know, Bongo's Ikwe, because of time, I skipped that bit. While I was in secondary school, and I was a day student. I was not in the boarding house, and but even when I later went to the boarding house, my parents, things were not coming too well in terms of funding and all that, and so to get pocket money, I would go then to join. There were 3 bands that were popular at that time. They were playing. Those days were no disco. It was live bands playing Sunday drums, they called them. There was Bongo Zikwe and the Rooftoppers. There was Patnasin, and there were the El Cados and all that. Bongos was one of them. So in secondary school, Bongo Zikwe was one of the popular musicians of the time, and we all loved him, and we all studied drums. So I sang most of his songs. At every time there was an opportunity, people asked me to sing his song. So I sang most of his songs. So years later, as a producer, whenever I had a production and I needed music, Bongo Sikwe had this unique way of reaching you
Very
with his
slow.
lyrics.
Yes.
And so, like I said, when I did Moment of Truth, and I got to that sequence where this lady's child had died, and I didn't want any words. I just wanted the theme and the music to tell the story. I use that what's gonna be is gonna be, whatever goes up must come down, and there's nothing you can do about it. So I mean, the loss he had. And years later, and because of the success of that production, when in 1979, the president then came up with an agricultural program to promote agriculture, called Operation Feed the Nation.
Okay.
NTA decided to produce a drama series to support that government endeavor. And because I was the producer of the winning competition, I was brought from Sokoto to Lagos to produce this drama agricultural series, which metamorphosed to be, that was Cock, Crow, and Dawn. Cock Dawn was not just an entertainment program, it was the major objective was to help promote agriculture.
Right.
So that is it. And I thought to do that best, I needed to compare the urban and the rural. At that time, there was a lot of migration from the rural areas to the urban, and too many people were just moving up to the towns, no jobs, nothing. And we wanted to encourage people to go back to the land and take up agriculture. And I thought, and when I sat down with my writers and developed the storyline, and I realized that I had to compare the rural area and the urban area, with the rural area favorably, showing the ideal nature of the rural area, where the traffic doesn't jam, where the neighbors stop to say hello, where there was so much, all that. And I thought, who could best do this? And I said it had to be Bongo Sikwe.
Bongo Sikwe.
Because, yes, and because he had done a song much earlier, a song called Lagos. I don't know whether you heard the song called Lagos. And in the song, he talks about, tonight I think of my home, the home where I was born.
I know that
I
one.
think of my families that are good. And then it comes to, then I hop into Lagos, where I am right now. Here in Lagos, no one cares for none. They hop and scramble for buses. They're always on the move.
Yeah.
Never enough accommodation. The roads are always jammed. So I went to him and said, Bongos, you remember your song titled Lagos. Now I want you to do a song. In this song, I'm going to be shooting a lot of lovely sunrise, waterfalls, running streams, and all that. Do me a song that paints the village ideally and nicely. And then, of course, the urban town, not too good. And that was how come Cockroach and Dawn came. Will he ever get there? Will he ever make it? Will he ever hear the sound of the Cockroach and Dawn? 1, 2, 3, 4 buses every day with nothing left at the end of each pay. The renters, he must pay. How much to pay? He often has no say. Will he ever get there? So, and that's on and on, of course. So the song, of course, became a big hit. And of course, the question of the egg and the chicken, which one came first? Is it the song or the play? For which one? But because we put too much planning and thought into it, everything meshed together as a big hit. So that's the story of Bongo Sikwe.
Yes, that's you know, the love affair between Peter Igho and Bongo Sikwe. He was so, you'd like to use him up. And you love to sing. You sing, you know, if you had even gone the way of music. I know you did the Bala show. I know you
exactly.
did. You had hand in everything. Anything that was successful.
Well, the thing is to put everything in proper perspective.
Okay.
After Cock Crow had done, when I produced about 78 episodes of Cock Crow had done, I was now appointed the general manager to be in charge of all network production. So being the producer, I was now brought to Lagos to be the general manager in charge of network production.
Yes.
So while That was in 1983. So when I came there in 1983, I decided to also do for, of course, produce more drama series. That's how come Behind the Clouds came, Mirror in the Sun came, House Number 13, and so many other drama series. And then I said, also, many of the people before my time still loved the Village Headmaster, the Masquerade, and the Samanja. But they were all local station productions.
Okay.
And I started to bring them, polish them up and bring them up to the network setup. And that's how come they became New Village Headmaster, New Samanja, and New Masquerade.
Okay.
So when I put them on the network where I was in charge of, they became New Village Headmaster, New Samanja, and all that. Yeah. Then I sat back and I said, I didn't want to be known only for drama. Let me do for other program types what I had done for drama.
Mm-hmm.
So we came up with the Bala show. The first time we had a music variety show where we brought in a star, where he brought in other stars to perform. We did 13 episodes of the Bala show. It was so well that we brought in all other top artists, Atalade, Onye Komwenu, Chris Okotie, all the top artists at that time were guests on that. Then I also did another with the Ligaby sisters, if you recall the twins. We had 13 episodes with them. And then we did one with Sama Sabot that was sponsored by Delta Slew. So having done that for music, I started also to do something for documentaries. And we had Giant in the Sun, Giant in the Sun, Not in a Character, so many other documentaries, the documentary of the Nigerian Civil War and all that. Then also for children, we call Tales by Moonlight.
Tales by Moonlight. Tales by, and I
that we produce entirely on location.
Right.
Traveling around the country, showcasing our tales, African tales and all. So we did that. We made sure we did for, on the network, we had, for every program type, we made sure we elevated the quality and to make it worthy of the NTA network.
Yeah, you did that and more. I'm remembering Things Fall Apart. That was you too.
Because that yes. Again, I was Things Fall Apart. Again, many of the top actors, Things Fall Apart now. Pete Edoche of Things Fall Apart. When I was in St. John's College, Kaduna, Pete Edoche was also in St. John's College, Kaduna. He was 2 years my senior. And the day I finished reading the book, Things Fall Apart, I walked straight to him in his class and I said, sir, when I was reading this book, you epitomized you embodied my vision of who Okonkwo is. The way you walk, the way you carry yourself, for me is Okonkwo. And he laughed. So years later, when we are now going to produce Things Fall Apart, and we assembled the team, I got the Rere was with a different person as Okonkwo. And one of their friends, he was a good actor, yes, but that was not my Okonkwo. So I stopped the production and I drove straight to Peter Edoche's house. And it was on a Sunday and he was sleeping. I speak Hausa with him and I said, Tashi. Remember I told you when I was in secondary school one day that when I read Things Fall Apart, you were the Okonkwo. Now I'm going to give you the opportunity to be that Okonkwo. I don't want you to come and act. Just come and be yourself in that, because for me, that's how come Peter Edoche came into Things Fall Apart. And another big name that you probably would know, Olu Jacobs. When I was doing Cockroach, Olu Jacobs, when I was doing Cockroach, I was editing, like I said, I shot the first 13 episodes in London, and I was editing in London. And after the first 4 episodes of Cockroach, it had become so famous, so all over the place. I was editing in London when I got a call from the BBC. They wanted to interview me on Cockroach. So I went to the BBC and they interviewed me. And in that interview, I mentioned that I was still editing the series in a place called Ward of Roger Cherries in London. I talked about gave them the address. So I went back to edit, and while I was editing, the next day I was told I had visitors, and I went back and I saw this man and his wife, well, a girlfriend at that time. But when I saw him, I screamed and I said, "Olu Jacob, I know you. I watched your movie Ashanti." And he said, "Oh yes, yes, yes." And I said, look, I like your person that. So he said, actually, this is his girlfriend. Introduced her to, of course, this is his wife later. And that they have been in London. He's been in London. He was tired of the being abroad. He wanted to come back home. And so they heard about me, and they heard my interview on the BBC and the address. So that's how they traced me there. And we went out for lunch, and we exchanged addresses and all that. And I promised him that when I go back, and if the opportunity ever arose, I will invite him to come and be part of our Nigerian story. And of course, years later, when I was now general manager of Network Productions, and we're going to produce a series which was a copy of Mind Your Language, which we called Second Chance.
Second Chance.
I called him to say, yes, Second Chance. And I said, please come. He was the principal of the school.
Nice. I remember.
The wife, of course, the wife was one of the students, Alero. And that series brought up many famous actors. Madame Kopo, who brought a brand of hairstyle and all that, Anuka and all that. So it was a good time. They were good times.
You are a dream maker. You make people's dream come true. You do. And people celebrate. This is just my way of celebrating you. But it was just so nice, you know, seeing you receiving that award. I loved it with you and your son. It's like full circle, you know. You have given, like I said, you've raised many generations, and then watching you on that stage, and then with your son is like the next generation, you know, taking the baton and just running away with it. You've got Tony and you've got Tosin. Do you have any more of your kids? I know probably your grandchildren. I know.
The grandchildren, they're all into, I mean, my granddaughter, Jenna, she records herself every day. She takes her phone, she records herself, performs and acts, sings and dances. And I think I'm glad that I tell you a short story. One of the times I was shooting Crow at dawn, we were in the streets of Jos, and Crow had become very popular at that time. A bus carrying some students on excursion passed by. When they saw the NTA bus and saw all the actors, they saw Zemaye, they saw Larry, they saw Bitrus, they saw Bello, Uncle Gaga, they all streamed out of the bus, and they all rushed Uncle Gaga and all that. So they all rushed to the various actors to get them to sign the autograph from them. And I sat down in the corner, here the producer director, and nobody came to me. Nobody came to me. And I sat in the corner, and of course, they were all adulating, they were all around all the actors, some with Bellos and with Gaga and all that. I just sat there, it completely ignored. After a while, one of the students talked to me, and I said, at last, somebody has recognized me. And she said, are you Peter Igho? I said, yes, you're the producer director. And I said, yes. I now have my time in the sun. And she said, are you not jealous that all your actors are famous and popular and nobody knows who you are? And I said, no, on the contrary, it gives me a lot of pleasure to see that these people that I helped to bring out to showcase their talent are loved and honored. That gives me a lot of pleasure. So I told you this story because of the statement you made. It makes me happy when I see those that I'm associated with become so successful. Some people are jealous of other people's successes. But for me, that is what makes me happy. When I sit back and I open the screen and I see all of you doing so well out there, and I say, oh, thank God, that for me is gratitude, gratification from that you cannot measure in Naira and Kobo.
Right, right.